Welcome students. This is Seema Gaur from Srimati LPSAVANI VIDHYABHAVAN, and today we are going to study Social Science chapter number 4, the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest level of court in our country and nobody can go over it. That is the decisions of the Supreme Court and the judgment of the Supreme Court. Here are some of the cuttings of the newspaper you can see where the highlights of the Supreme Court judgments are being shown. SC squashes medical entrance tests. SC not for inviting global tenders to revive KGF mines. Sets aside the order of Karnataka High Court. Our newspapers are always highlighted most of the times by the decisions of the Supreme Court. So here are the some of the decisions of the Supreme Court. Here you can also see Supreme Court has just set aside the order of Karnataka High Court. This shows that the power of Supreme Court is such that it can also take over the decisions which were given by the High Court. Here one activity is also given in which we have to collect some cuttings of judgments which were published in the newspapers and fill the table given below. First, in the first column, you can write the name of the court and who had filed a petition. Petition means who had filed a complaint and against whom, and the judgment, what was the judgment given by the court. And from this we can notice that what is the importance of court. And so let us discuss about the need of the courts. Law is required for the safety and welfare of the people. When any citizen or institution breaks any law, a specific process is followed to address the issue. There is a hierarchy of courts to impart justice in our country. It starts with the Taluka Court as the lowest court, succeeded by the District Court, the High Court and the Supreme Court. The Judiciary is one of the most important organs of the government. Judiciary is kept independent from the legislature and executive. To run the administration safely and in a smooth manner, the laws are required and for the safety and welfare of the people. So when any citizens or institution breaks any law, there is one particular process through which we can address the issue. And in our country we have different levels. Hierarchy means levels or the chain of courts to give justice in our country. So it starts with Taluka Court. Actually in 7th standard also we have learned the different levels of court, but it was up to state level. Now we are going to learn about the total judiciary system. In our country, the court starts with the Taluka Court as the lowest court, then after District Court and the High Court and the Supreme Court. The judiciary is the most important. Now children, we have learned about the three organs of the government. First one was the legislature, second one was executive and third was judiciary. Among all the three, judiciary is the most important organ and it is totally kept separate from the legislature and executive. What does independent judiciary mean? Is there any relation between the courts in your village, city and the Supreme Court located in Delhi? You will get the answer of these questions in this chapter. This is the picture of the Supreme Court, which is in Delhi. What is the role of the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court is the highest among all the courts in the nation. It came into existence on 28 January 1950. It holds the right of conferring the fundamental rights granted to us by the constitutions. As I told you, Supreme Court, it is highest among all the courts in nation. Among the Taluka Court, District Court and High Court, the Supreme Court is the highest. And it came into existence in our country on 28 January 1950. Children, please note down, this is the date just after we had declared our country as a republic country. That was, we declared ourselves as a republic country on 26 January 1950, and the Supreme Court came into existence after just after 2 days of it, that is on 28 January 1950. It holds the right of conferring the fundamental rights granted to us by the constitutions. That means it holds the right of consulting about the fundamental rights which our constitution has given to each citizen. Citizens have the right to file an appeal directly in the Supreme Court if any of his or fundamental rights have been violated. That means if any person's rights are being taken away or he is being tortured by taking away his fundamental rights, he or she, they can directly appeal in the Supreme Court. Any citizen or institution can file a petition in the Supreme Court to avail justice in the view of public interest. This is known as PIL, Public Interest Litigation. So any citizen can file a appeal or he can request in the Supreme Court to get the justice for the people also, in the view of the people's interest also, in the public interest. If anybody finds problem, he or she can file a case in Supreme Court. The Supreme Court interprets the Constitution and advises the President and the Parliament in the same regards. The Supreme Court explains the Constitution. It knows everything about the laws of the country, and so it gives the advice to the President and the Parliament in the same regards, in regards to our Constitution. It also enjoys the power to review the judgment passed by any of the lower courts. If anyone has not got the justice in the lower courts, the Supreme Court will review the judgment and pass another verdict for the same case. The Supreme Court solves disputes between citizens and government, between states and between the center and state. To understand this, let us study the Save Narmada movement of Gujarat. Supreme Court not only solves the any citizens' cases, but if there is any dispute between the citizens and government, or there is a problem between two states or between states and central government, it tries to solve the problem. So here one famous popular case of Save Narmada movement of Gujarat is given. Let us have a view. There was a protest against increasing the height of the Narmada Dam above 110 meters near Navagam. Environmentalist organizations and NGOs from Madhya Pradesh and other regions were fighting for the rights of the tribals who would lose their land and habitat forever due to this project. So when the Narmada Dam was being built, the people were opposing it, some people, because the height of the dam was 110 meters and above, which was in Navagam, Gujarat. So the people who were taking care of environment, some organization who were taking steps towards protecting the environment, and the NGOs which were helping the tribal people of Madhya Pradesh, they filed a case. The Supreme Court passed a judgment on 8th March 2006 to resolve this conflict between two states. So now here is a case between the Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. The Madhya Pradesh tribal people, for the tribal people, these NGOs and environmentalist organization, they were fighting. So there was a dispute between Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, and Supreme Court passed a judgment on 8th of March 2006 to solve the conflict between these two states. It stated that in accordance with the rising population, it was necessary to carry out this project. There was a possibility of positive development in the environment and benefits to all the living beings due to the Sardar Sarovar Yojana. So the Supreme Court gave the verdict, means the judgment, that this project should be continued because it will be helpful towards the positive development and benefits to all the living beings. and even the arid areas of Rajasthan, that means the dry areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh would get water and the expansion of desert could be kept under control. But proper rehabilitation of the tribals affected by this project should be given the top priority, and hence their fundamental rights could be protected. So now your Supreme Court has given the permission to continue this Narmada Dam project, which is known as Sardar Sarovar Yojana, but it also ordered to give the proper rehabilitation, means to take care of the fundamental rights of the tribal people who were affected by this project, and that should be done on the top priority basis. So the Supreme Court decision was accepted both by both the states, and the case was solved. As in the chapter, we have seen that they have written, judiciary is kept independent from legislature and executive. So why judiciary is kept independent? Imagine yourself into a situation where a powerful person captures the land belonging to your family and you go to the court and get your property back by the system is such that a powerful influential person can remove or transfer a judge from his or her post. In such a situation, the judge would favor the powerful person only. So if judiciary is not kept independent, then what will happen? Suppose your land is taken away by some powerful person and you go to the court for getting the justice. Then a powerful or influential person who has taken away your land, he can give the threat to the judge that he will remove him from his job or from his post. In such situation, what will happen? The judge will favor always the powerful person only. That is why the judiciary is kept separate from legislature or executive, so that nobody can use their influence and pressurize the judge. So if the judiciary is deprived of freedom, if powerful influential people can control the judiciary, there would be no impartial judgment. That is the reason why our constitution does not allow such kind of interference. That is why judiciary has been kept independent from legislature and executive. Thus, once the judges are appointed in the High Court and the Supreme Court, it becomes very difficult to expel them from their respective positions. If an individual feels that his or her fundamental right is violated, he or she can go to the court. So if judiciary is not kept independent from this legislature and the executives, what will happen? The powerful and the influential people, they can control the judges, they can control the judiciary and get the justice according to them, the verdict according how they want. So that is the reason in our constitution, means in our republic country, we are our democratic republic country, and in our constitution it does not allow such kind of interference of different organs into judiciary. Thus, once the judges, when they are appointed for High Court or Supreme Court, it is very difficult to bring them down from their positions. Nobody can throw them out of their job. Okay. That is why if any person, either they may be male or female, any of their fundamental rights, if they are violated, then he or she can go to the court and get the justice. Are the courts at various levels connected with one another? Yes, they are. To understand this, let's understand the procedure of filing a petition, that is the appeal. If an individual finds the judgment given by the lower court not satisfactory, then he or she can file a petition in the upper court. To understand this concept, let's discuss a case. There were few houses in the southern direction where Ratlam municipality had constructed road. Behind these houses was an old road leading to the government college. Near the junction of the old and the new municipality road ran a culvert of dirty water. Now here culvert means a small gutter like where you can see the dirty water is collected. Industries released dirty water infested with chemicals in this culvert. It had become the source of foul smell and mosquitoes. Now see, firstly this culvert was collected, means dirty water was collected, and industries were releasing their waste water which was full of chemicals in this culvert, and because of that it was becoming like source of dirty smell, and mosquitoes also started breeding over there. Slum dwellers answered the natural calls by the sides of this culvert, and the health department had failed in controlling the mosquitoes. The residents had repeatedly written applications to remove the dirt around it, but the health department failed to take care of it too. As a result, the residents appealed in the Taluka court, that is the court of the subdivision magistrate. So the slum dwellers, the poor people, those who don't have toilet, they were going for the toilets and all nearby this culvert, and the health department who used to take care of the disease and all, they failed in controlling the mosquitoes which were breeding in this area. And the people who were living repeatedly wrote an application to remove this dirt around it, but the health department failed to do all this, failed to do any action against it. And so only the way left for the residents was to appeal in the Taluka court. Here now the magistrate gave the verdict in the favor of the resident. First judgment verdict given by the Taluka court was, the municipality and the town improvement trust have failed in their duty of maintaining cleanliness. Both the institutions are ordered to cleanse the place with immediate effect. Within 15 days, the work of a closed drainage should be completed. When the magistrate gave the verdict in the favor of the resident, means it gave the verdict that municipality and town improvement have to cleanse that area within 15 days. The municipality challenged this verdict of the this verdict in the Ratlam district court. Now the case went from Taluka court to district court. Now what judgment did the district court give? The judgment of the Taluka court is declared to be unfair. So now in the district court, the judgment was in the favor of municipality. The resident challenged the verdict in the high court, and the high court sustained the verdict of the Taluka court but added to the verdict. Now when the case went from high court to from district court to the high court, the high court said that the verdict of Taluka court is correct, but it added some of the more clauses that were, for a closed drainage system, 7 months time is given instead of 15 days, and the pit should be filled with soil to keep the water accumulation and mosquitoes breeding. All work should be completed within 2 years. So now, High Court continued the verdict of Taluka court, which was given first by the magistrate, but the time was increased from 15 days to 2 years. Now again the Ratlam municipality was unhappy with the verdict, and so it moved to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court sustained the judgment of the Taluka court and further ordered that. We have learned that the Supreme Court judgment, whatever is given in whatever judgment is given by the Supreme Court, that is final. So Supreme Court said that whatever judgment was given by Taluka court, that was correct, but it also added one more clause, that was the chemical and the dye plants which were responsible for the pollution should be closed with the joint effort of the municipality and the state government. So you can see that the Supreme Court has given the correct justice to the people and to the municipality and state government, and all have to accept it. Can any citizen appeal in a court? We have learned that any citizen can appeal in a court for the protection of his or her fundamental rights. But in reality, poor people find it very difficult to go to the court. The legal procedures not only require a lot of money and paperwork, but also it is very time consuming. For a poor person who is illiterate and incurring irregular income, it becomes really tough to go to court and demand justice. As we have learned that anybody can appeal in the court and get his protected his fundamental rights. But in our country there are many poor people. To reach up to the court is very difficult procedure for them. Like lot of money is required for doing the paperwork. They have to appoint like a lawyer for getting the justice, means to fight a case in a court. Or some people are even illiterate, means not educated, and they have very less income. So for them to go to the court and ask for justice is very difficult. Keeping this fact in mind, the Supreme Court announced the provision of the public interest litigation in the year 1980. With this, the Supreme Court has made an effort that maximum people can reach up to court for justice. So, to get the justice for the poor people, the Supreme Court announced one provision for public interest litigation in the year 1980. So, by this procedure, Supreme Court has tried that maximum people, whether either poor or rich, they can reach up to court for justice. Any individual or institution can file a case on behalf of people from the deprived classes. Like not only the person whose fundamental rights are violated, but if any other individual or institution can file a case on behalf of that person. If any of the fundamental rights are being violated, then a citizen can appeal straight in the High Court or the Supreme Court. After 1980, PIL was used to bring justice to many deprived sections of the society. For example, PIL were filed to free laborers for inhuman labor or to release the prisoners from the jail in Bihar after their term of punishment was over. Means after when this PIL was started, it brought justice for many lower class people. Like one was to free the laborers from the inhuman labor. Like if the people were used in such a way that a lot of labor work is done by them, which is not possible by a human. So that kind of, you can see one picture also here in the side is given. You can see a person carrying a hand trolley with lot of weight, right? Or there were some prisoners in the jail of Bihar which were still in the jail even though their punishment was over. The term of the punishment was over and they were still in the prison. So this PIL were filed to free these people and it was successful. Like that, so many cases were there which were helpful because of this 1980. In 1980, PIL was used. One more example of the midday meal program was launched in the government-aided school too is an outcome of one such PIL. So, one means maybe someone has filed a PIL in the Supreme Court and because of that only the midday meal The lunch program for the government school has started for the students studying in the government school. Now, if the Supreme Court finds any PIL regarding fundamental rights and or its implementation if inappropriate, then the court may punish the person, group of people or the institution. It is good that there is a PIL, we can file a PIL, but if its implementation is wrong, then the court can punish the person who has filed a PIL or group or the institution.